I'm going to go there to represent Hoosiers and hopefully make you proud of me as your next senator from Indiana. Thank you so much.
Indiana's hard-fought Senate battle is over, and the winner is ready to get to work. What the outcome of this key race means for Hoosiers and the country.
And problems at the polls as a record number of people turned out to cast their ballots. What this means for your vote. Good evening to you. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. We have live team coverage now at 11, working for you on this election night. We start with RTV6's Kara Kenny at Republican headquarters, where Senate winner Mike Braun celebrated his victory over incumbent Joe Donnelly. Kara.
That's right, Mark. A lot of excitement, a lot of cheering tonight here at Republican headquarters as Mike Braun, a businessman, has upseated the incumbent Democrat Joe Donnelly. Now, this brings to a close a very long, heated race for that coveted Senate seat. Mike Braun gave his acceptance speech just a short time ago in which he talked about living the American dream and his partnership with President Donald Trump. He says the Republicans need to focus on banding together to get things done the next 2 years with Trump in office and then help Trump get reelected. Mike Braun told his supporters he will not let them down.
When I started this, not many people believed in it. Many thought it was a fool's errand. All I can tell you is everything I've gone through, I do it again because we got a rare opportunity, I think, to really make things happen in D.C., and I can't wait to be a part of it.
And when Braun starts his new job in Washington, D.C., he says he will focus on tax reform and improving health care. We're live at Republican headquarters. I'm Kara Kenny, RTV6.
Kara, thank you. Now we go to our Erica Fly at Democratic headquarters, where Senator Joe Donnelly conceded defeat. Erica.
As you can see from the empty tables behind me here, it cleared out quickly after Joe Donnelly gave his concession speech, a speech that was short and to the point. And then Donnelly walked behind stage, past the black curtains, and he disappeared. It was clearly a big disappointment for Donnelly and his supporters tonight. His camp told me he would not be available for any interviews. Donnelly will not retain his Senate seat for a second term. Donnelly thanked his supporters and revealed what he said when he called Mike Braun.
We had the chance to serve everybody across our state and to be able to try to make a difference in their lives with health care and with so many good things. And the people of our state are so wonderful. I called Mike Braun to let him know I will do everything I can to make sure there's a smooth transition, because that's what the people of Indiana deserve.
Many Donnelly supporters left here tonight in tears, but there were moments of celebration here tonight for Democrats who did win their seats. Several Democrats did, like Congressman Andre Carson, Prosecutor Terry Curry, and Carrie Forstall for Marion County Sheriff. Back to you.
All right, our Erica Fly live at the Democratic headquarters tonight. Thank you, Erica. Indiana's Senate race was closely watched across the country because it was seen as a key race to keep Republicans in control of the Senate. At this hour, ABC News is projecting that will happen. Republicans will retain Senate control, but ABC is saying Democrats will take over the House. Now to a major upset in the Indiana General Assembly in a rematch from 4 years ago. Democrat J.D. Ford upsets Republican Senator Mike Delph for the District 29 Senate seat representing parts of Marion and Hamilton counties. Ford becomes the first openly LGBTQ person ever elected to the Indiana General Assembly. 4 years ago, Ford came within about 2,000 votes of beating Delph. Workers in Marion County are done counting ballots for the night. About 40 minutes ago, the Marion County Election Board announced it unanimously voted to suspend counting absentee votes until tomorrow. This is video from a couple of hours ago at the Voting Service Center on East Washington Street, when crews were still hard at work tallying those ballots. The board says there are about 50,000 absentee ballots. They have yet to be counted.
And some counties may reconsider how they staff and prepare for Election Day in the future after problems at the polls. RTV6's Graham Hunter continues our team coverage tonight live in Johnson County, where some voters face frustrations. Graham.
Well, Amanda, here in Johnson County, the trouble started this morning when the machines used to check voters in were running slow. It led to wait times of several hours. That meant some voters couldn't stay here to vote during the day. Meanwhile, down in Monroe County, it was a shortage of ballots that led to a last-minute extension of voting hours in the county.
The lines were super long, so it was kind of tricky getting to class on time.
Rumsha Khan took time out of her busy day to go vote at the IU Student Union.
What was really frustrating is when I got inside, they told me I had to wait like a couple hours because no ballots.
Several polling locations across the county were dealing with the issue.
That was kind of frustrating, but they started this electronic voting thing, and they said they could only take one person at a time.
Khan was able to vote and get to class, but as a result of the ballot shortage, a judge extended voting times in Monroe County to 7 o'clock.
In 2016, they're basing, I believe the clerk was basing most of the numbers on that. Early voting was the bigger portion of our total vote totals. This year, it flipped back to the more traditional aspect of things. And I think they're basing more for the 2016 model.
William Ellis is the chairman of the Monroe County Election Board. He's the Republican representative. He joined his Democratic counterpart driving ballots to several polling locations.
She and I have been going around all over the county dropping off ballots to get this problem fixed.
Monroe County Clerk Nicole Brown, in an email to RTV6, says she regrets any inconvenience any voter has experienced and says, when planning for the midterm election more than 1 year ago, we certainly anticipated some uptick in voter turnout in response to voter concerns, but could never have imagined close to 50% voter responsivity.
I knew that it would probably be about an hour for me to even try to vote, so there was just no way to do that.
In Johnson County, the problems had to do with the system used to check voters in. Slow times and long waits sent some voters heading for the doors. Carlos Wilson left to open his business and came back to vote later.
The line was much longer than this morning, but still, we're looking at another hour yet.
The election board made the decision not to extend voting times, saying adjustments to the poll book were sufficient to account for any delays. I reached out to Joe Donnelly's campaign earlier tonight to ask about the wait times. They said they just hope that everyone that wanted to vote had the chance to get out and do so. Mike Braun's campaign never got back to me. Meanwhile, election officials here in Johnson County say they'll be studying what happened with the check-in system to try and make sure that this problem never happens again. We're reporting live from Johnson County. Graham Hunter, RTV6.
Thank you, Graham, for that. And 12 polling places in northwestern Indiana also stayed open late after voting did not open on time. A Porter County judge ordered the sites stay open up to 2.5 hours later than scheduled. The county clerk blamed the late start on some poll workers quitting, some not picking up election supplies, and sites not being open when poll workers arrived.
Counties across central Indiana are reporting heavy voter turnout before the polls closed. Hamilton County reported a 45% turnout. That's 5 times what it was in 2014. Hendricks County reported a 47% turnout. It's the same story across the country. This year's turnout could be the highest for any midterm election since 1914. Our Democracy 2018 coverage is not over. Coming up in about 6 minutes here, results from major national races, another Pence will represent Indiana, and how the state's biggest school district plans to spend hundreds of millions in new taxpayer funding.